Drogba indirdi ceza. Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol! Muslera. Fernando Muslera. Golün adı Muslera. Sarıyoglu. Drogba. This is incredible.
Merhaba, and welcome to episode 38 of The Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast done by the community for the community. Today, I, Emre, will be your host. It is 2023 now, and we're entering the new year as leaders. Today, it's just going to be me and my North American brethrens. We're going to be drinking the tears of our opponents, and we're going to discuss the Sivas game in depth. So, let me introduce you to them. Yasin from New York. How you doing, brother? How's New Year's treating you?
Good, man. Happy New Year's. Can't be happier, honestly. You know, like you said, we go into the new year as leaders. That's the best way that we can really do it. A lot of people thought that Fenerbahce was going to be the team to, you know, finish the season early as leaders, win the championship in March and April. That's not looking like the case. So, very good. Health is in check. Can't really ask for more, man.
Right, man. Going to the new year healthy and happy is one of the biggest things we could ever ask for. The best things we can ask for. Isn't that right, Coach John from Canada?
What's up? Happy New Year's, everyone. Happy to be back for another one. 38 episodes in. I don't know. Can you guys believe that? Already 38 episodes. Closing in
According
on the
to some
50.
of our fans, it's not even enough for them.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for everyone, by the way, during the World Cup break, sending us messages, asking when the next episode's coming and all that. Thanks for the support. But it's great. We're kicking off the new year with a new episode for everyone. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to another year of you guys supporting us. You guys are really what keeps us going, and we can't thank you guys enough. For real. If our friends, you know, Samet was here, Saleh, Maz, they would tell you the same exact thing. Samet couldn't make it. He has some fatherly duties, you know. It is what it is. We love him for it. Saleh, I think he got a little too, you know, carried away with some of the New Year celebration, so he couldn't make it either. And Mazar is same thing, I think, and which is okay.
I mean, let's be real here. Like, you're being nice, Emre, but this is the third, fourth, fifth episode where it's just us North Americans, whether it's three of us or two of us. But how many times have y'all seen episodes where there's no North Americans and it's just Europeans or just Maz and the guys? Like, I don't recall any. Like, I think we deserve a little praise here for the consistency. So
yeah,
I just want to say
too.
thank you to both of you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate both of you. But, you know, they're going to come being their, you know, rebellious selves. They're going to say, oh, well, you know, you guys have this time zone difference. We always, you know, catering to your times and such. But, you know, they could always just go and do it themselves. But they can't because they need the Americans. No matter how much they hate us or they make fun of us. Americans, we got it, baby.
For sure.
All right. So, lads, before we get into the game, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Anything that pops into your mind?
Yeah, I'll sort of kick us off here. It's been a while since we had some transfer news, but there is one rumor that has been heating up over the past few days, and especially yesterday there was a bunch of reports about it. But it's in regards to Aziz Behic, who is the current left back for Dundee United in Scotland and the Australian national team. Honestly, I sort of figured we would be in the market for a left back. I don't think that's any surprise. But what do you guys think about that? Like, is that a player you'd like, you know, to replace Kazımcan, who I think has, you know, slowly sort of been coming around? I mean, this is a 32-year-old player. He has tons of experience in the Super League. He actually had some really good performances in the World Cup for Australia as well. Across the 4 matches he played, he had a 6.6 rating. And keep in mind, 2 of those matches were against France and Argentina. So some tough competition. So I think he put in some decent performances. But is that someone you'd like to see join us in January?
Since Yasin just cleared his throat, I think he's getting ready to speak. So Yasin, take it away, bro.
I was gonna say you can have it, but I'll take it away. So I like this, and just to quickly comment on what you said, John. You said replace Kazımcan. I actually don't think that's the case, and the type of player he is, the age he has, the experience he has, it actually I think works out really well for as a short-term solution to us trying to figure out what we want to do long-term. Because Aziz Beyic is 32 years old, as you said. You know, the last team in the Super League that he played for was Giresunspor. You know, I think it says 34 games played in one season. Whether he played great or bad, I'm not going to lie, I didn't follow Giresunspor that season, the season that he played, but that's still valuable experience. He played for Bursaspor, over 120 caps for them. He knows the league, and he counts as a Turkish player. And I think that's the most important part of this whole thing, because we're not going to bring him in and say, listen, you're going to be the absolute number one player and you're going to play every single game. I don't think he's going to be that type of transfer. I think he would be the type of transfer that's going to be like, okay, we need a yerli player, and our only options right now is Kazımcan, who's injured. Other options, Emre Taşdemir, who is also injured or is on the verge of being injured any single given minute, and Van Aanholt, who is a yabancı player, and I think we can all agree has not been good. In fact, there's rumors of him simultaneously, along with this Aziz Beyic rumor, of us trying to let go of him. I'm seeing now rumors of maybe Kasımpaşa being interested. I've seen rumors of us paying majority of his wages and letting the other team take care of the rest. I've seen rumors of us being happy to just pay whatever we owe him for the next 6 months and just get him off our roster because we need to open up space. So by bringing in a guy like Aziz Beyic, I think you can be like, okay, you'll play, but there's going to be times where Kazımcan, a young kid that's been playing well, that we invested for the long term, is going to start over you. And I don't think he's going to complain. I mean, this is Galatasaray, right? He's playing in Europe next year, very, very likely. Whereas right now he's playing for Dundee United. I don't know much about Dundee United, but like, who does? That's all I have to say about that. No disrespect to any of our listeners who are Dundee United fans on the side, but there's a big difference here, right?
Sorry,
between
Yasin.
Galatasaray and Dundee United.
Sorry to cut you off. Just for what you just said about Dundee United, just for everyone listening as well, just some information. Dundee United is in relegation right now. They're in 11th. They're in second last place in the Scottish League. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, and like he's playing, so I'm sure his team values him. The most important thing of this transfer rumor is how much they're going to ask for. And I'm a little bit optimistic it won't be too expensive compared to trying to buy a Turkish player that's already playing in the Turkish league, because every team in the Turkish league is already struggling to deal with this yabancı kuralı, this foreigner limit. And you know how it is. How many times have we gotten ripped off from these Super League teams because we were interested in a semi-decent Turkish player just to reach this quota? So I think we have a little bit of an advantage from that negotiation perspective. And I'm all for it. If of course, Galatasaray and Aziz Beyic approach this deal with the same mindset that I just did, I'm excited for it, because I would hate to bring in an expensive left back and just put Kazımcan on the bench when I think most of us can agree that the kid has potential to play as a left back long term for us. So I'm excited. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I don't even think this would be an option if Kazımcan didn't get injured. Because I think we were going to look at other options for Turkish spots, right? Just to like broaden our rotation in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of sucks, man. Honestly, like I Dundee United, Turkish league, and like if you look at Aziz's history, it's like he's been like taken in and thrown out by almost every team that he's ever been to. But like you guys said, that he's only here as a temporary solution to a really outdated rule. This foreign rule, needs to go away. It's just not helping anybody. And then it also stops people from leaving and finding their true potential, because let's say Kazımcan is as good as he is or can be better. We're not going to let him go because of the stupid foreign rule. Tell me I'm wrong. Like, are we going to let him go? Or like, imagine if Abdülkerim was 25 and not 28, 29. Would we let him go? No one's going to pay like 15 million for him. the max they'll pay is maybe like 8 million. But for us to replace him with another Turkish player that's at like equal caliber, if not just a little lower, would be just as much. So this rule, it doesn't provide anything. So I just hope that someone with the brain comes to TFF and just changes this. And I think it'll happen soon. There's talks about it going around. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
So I like this Aziz Beach temporary transfer. Hopefully Kazımcan gets better soon. But yeah. Speaking of Kazımcan getting injured, the Sivasspor game and their plot of land that's meant to be farmed on. What do we think, boys? What do we think about the game? John, do you want to take us through the game slowly?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into it. So, just in case anyone wasn't aware or they were wondering before I jump into it, this was a midweek match shortly after the match we played on the weekend, trying to fill in the blanks that were left from the World Cup break. So this was round 16 of the Super League. We were away to Sivas. This one ended 2-1 in favor of Galatasaray. This was a, I guess, bit of a nervy match. We'll dive into why that is, but I'll get into the lineup and some stats first. So, like I said, this one finished 2-1, 52% possession for Galatasaray and 48% for Sivas. 13-12 shots in favor of Galatasaray, and we had an XG of 1.89. Sivas had an XG of 1.70. We'll go through the starting lineup here. So we started, I believe, almost the same as last match. So we had Van Aanholt left back. Muslera in goal, by the way. Van Aanholt left back, Abdul Karim, Nelson, Bowie, Berkan, Sergio Oliveira, Mertens, Kerem, Rashica, and Gomis up front. And with that said, I guess we'll get into our thoughts about the match, first half in particular. So I think we knew, even before this match started, that we were in for a little bit of a difficult match. If you look at the history between the two of us, we have some losses against Sivas, although we were in good form coming into the match. I think we lost the last 2 or 3 matches against Sivas in the previous seasons. But
we have some bad blood between us.
Absolutely. And, in addition to that, we knew the weather probably wasn't going to be ideal. And like Emre mentioned, no comment on the pitch, just absolutely terrible. So definitely some obstacles to sort of overcome there. I thought that if we break the first half into 2 halves, the first part of that first half, I thought that Sivas was a little bit better. I thought they were a little bit more threatening. And I kind of felt, we kind of got the vibe that it was going to be a little bit of a tougher match. And we eventually settled in the later part of that first half, into the later stages of it, I should say. We kind of settled in a little bit more. And the breakthrough actually came in the 27th minute. It was Mertens who scored off a cross from Sasha Boy. Just a beautiful goal, like beautiful build up, beautiful cross. It's sort of a trailing cross to Mertens in the upper or middle part of the box, and just first time into the bottom corner. Lovely finish from Mertens, who's been playing, in my opinion, phenomenal the last few games before the break as well. So that's fantastic. And we went into the first half 1-0. What did you guys think about the first half in general, and who stood out?
Let me just take this one for now. The first half is kind of what we expected. I didn't expect much football to be played, to be quite frank. On this field, I think the performance we showed is the best you're going to get on this type of field. You could tell when people are passing, the ball just like jumps up from time to time, slows down, doesn't go where it needs to go. And that's why you kind of saw this back and forth between us and Sivas, just constantly shooting long balls, trying to get our ball to the pitch at the end, right? And so it kind of, people say we didn't play great. I can't expect people to play great on this type of field. It's like, I can't even say it's a field. at this point. I'd rather play on turf, and I hate turf.
And you know what, Emre, as well, like to that point you just said, I remember when I was watching the match and Mertens scored and he hit it first time, I remember thinking to myself, he's so smart. Like if he tried, settling the ball down, who knows what would have happened? Like, it's so hard to control the ball when you're playing on a pitch like this. Like, I'm gonna mention a little later, there's a chance that Kerem squandered. That was just a horrible.
I was gonna just say that because that happened to Kerem when again Mertens, superb ball, just cut the whole defense in half. Saw Kerem by himself, and Kerem like would have scored on a 1-on-1, but the field was so bad. He couldn't control the ball, but with the last second ditch attempt, he gave the ball to Gomes.
Yeah.
And he couldn't score. I mean, say what you will, it is kind of tough. You have two players right in front of you. Maybe he could have held the ball longer. I can't say. Yeah. Gomes has been providing us with a lot of points on his own, just straight up. So, like, I can't give him a lot for that.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, in general, I'm gonna give it to you. Just in general, I think the first half we played the way we needed to play. Sivas had like no shots on target first half. I think they finished with no shots. I think they had one chance that Yatabare couldn't finish. He kind of tripped. And that's what you get when your field is this shit. You get those opportunities and you can't finish because your field is trash. So yeah, that's my takeaway. Like, I didn't expect the football game to be played this match. I didn't. And what we showed was more than enough to win against this team, I think. Yeah. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And just to sort of round it off before I pass it on to Yasin. So like I mentioned, the Mertens goal came in the 27th minute. The chance that we've talked about that with Kerem missing, that came in the 30th minute. It was a through ball that Mertens played. He just ripped their backline open. Kerem was sort of through on goal. It looks like he kind of lost his footing or maybe had a bad touch and he couldn't shoot it. The Gomes picked up the loose ball. It was just an empty net, really, and there was a defender standing in the net, and Gomes couldn't put it in.
There was two, actually.
Two defenders in the net, and they blocked it. He couldn't finish it. And then in the 42nd minute, Rashica had a cross, and Van Aanholt was on the other end of it, and he probably could have scored. Maybe he could have done a better job trying to steer it into the net, but it went over.
Yeah, so that one was tough, thoh.
Yeah,
the angle.
Yeah, that's a much more difficult chance for sure. But I just wanted to say that just to sort of round out what you and I have said, and Yasin, you can go ahead and give us your thoughts on it.
Before Yasin, I just forgot to mention Bowie, man. This kid, I can't just. There's back in the day. There was on the Barcelona subreddit, after the matches, there would be, man of the match other than Messi. We're going to have man of the match other than Bowie because he's been phenomenal every game so far. I can't remember a game he was really bad in. Yasin, unless you can tell me otherwise.
No, I think, maybe very early in the season, he had one or two games, or maybe it was even last year. I honestly don't know. I might even be.
His first game back was Antalya.
Yeah, like the kid has been phenomenal, and he's been very consistent this season. So nothing really to say there, man.
And he's been improving. Just look at his assist, right?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, I think you guys pretty much covered everything there is to discuss in the first half. There's just 2 points that I want to reiterate because I think it's really important. One is that assist from Sacha Bowie. I mean, we already talked about him several times, but Sacha Bowie has always been a tank defensively, getting back, winning the ball, distributing the ball. But the thing that's really kind of separated him between being a very good player and a great player is that final third, whether it's a cross, the pass, or the shot. We've seen great shots from him, hit the post, the crossbar several times this season. So I think he's definitely capable of that. It's just a matter of consistency. But it's been the last pass, that we used to see from Mariano, for example. That's the last fullback that I remember where I felt so damn comfortable, where I felt like I even had like a playmaking number 10 playing left back or right back, wherever he played. I think right back at the time. Where I was like, this guy knows how to create chances for us. And I always felt comfortable whenever he went up that we're going to, get a chance from him going up because he knew how to find the striker or the trailing winger, the midfielder. He was that good. Sacha has not been quite that yet. And I've always said, okay, he's young. He'll learn. And he's actually learning. I mean, look at that pass. I think it was it might have been a one-time pass. So Berkan laid the ball off to him. He made an overlapping run. Berkan played it through on him, and he found Mertens perfectly. And Mertens knew how to finish that, of course. He's experienced. But that is what I love to see. That's not something that we were able to say that, he'll do every single time throughout, this season. He's kind of been lacking. He's been inconsistent. But if he can continue to do that and find that pass consistently for the rest of the season, that's just going to make him all that more valuable for us and his next team that he's, I think, eventually going to end up going
If
to.
I can add one more to your point, last game, he crossed from like all the way to the other side of the pitch to Gomez, where it came off the. I've never seen him make a cross like that before. He picks up his head finally and makes more accurate passes. So, like you said, man, he's improving. I think he's working hard, and I love it.
Yeah,
we all love it
for sure. There's nothing better to see than a young player work on their weaknesses in a very short period of time. Because you're always worried, like, this young player, is this their max potential? Is this a weakness that they can actually work on, or is it gonna be a weakness for the rest of their career? Sacha is proving a lot of people wrong, and I love to see that. Sacha is very hard to not love, and good for him. I hope he keeps it up. That's number one. Number two is the field and the pitch. I think John touched on it, on how Mertens show how much experience he has to kind of see the field, understand the field, and play accordingly. And I want to add Sergio to that grouping as well. And I love players like this. In the past, if I were to think of a player that knew how to adjust to the pitch, it was always Schneider for me. Schneider's this playmaking number 10 that knows how to find passes and shoot, but he was always able to adjust to his settings as well, even though he doesn't have every single skill set that you can think of. He wasn't the paciest player. He didn't have, 5-star, he wasn't a credible dribbler, he didn't always beat players, but he knew how to adjust to his surroundings. And, Sergio made passes accordingly. I thought he did a great job adjusting to the pitch, and that's what you want from your midfielders in this situation. I think, we could have easily tried to resort to our, quick passing on the ground and really kind of play it against us, against our favor. But I think we adjusted really well. And I love seeing that from experienced players like Mertens and Sergio. I wanted to applaud that, but I think you guys covered everything else for the first half. The second half,
there's one thing I wanted to touch on. Actually, it didn't go over it, but I think you're the perfect candidate to tell us this. Going into this game without Torreira, everyone was scared as hell. They're like, who's gonna play in the CDM role? And then you saw Berkan play that role, and I think he was. I think he proved everyone wrong. Everyone was like, had their butts tight because thinking that he was going to make mistakes, give away passes that would lead to goals on counterattacks. But what did you think, Yasin?
Before I say what I think, I'm glad you brought it up. Did you guys expect that Beckham to play, or did you guys expect...
No, I thought Mitchell would play.
I thought so too. John, what did you think?
I wasn't that surprised, honestly. I mean, I think we played with 3 Turks last game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of expected it, but I also wouldn't have been surprised if Mitchell...
4, actually. 4.
We played with...
Okan played last game, remember?
Yes, that's what it was. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. So, I wasn't surprised to see it. And, I mean, I think he's... Like, before I give it back to Yasin, I know he has a lot to say about it. I think it's useful to have a player like Berkan. Like, I don't fully write him off. I just, I just am confident in saying he's not as good as Sergio, Torreira, or Mitchell. That's it. But I don't write him off. Like, when we need him to play these type of matches, I'm pretty confident he can play decently. And I thought he played, fairly well in the Sivas game. So, I think he's good to have overall.
Yeah, and there's not really a lot to add. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about Berkan positively for many, many episodes, and I think he showed himself again today. It's tough when you don't have Torreira on the pitch because he covers the weaknesses that a guy like Sergio leaves. We've always criticized Sergio of being a very attack-minded player. He doesn't get back defensively. He doesn't make the best defensive tackles. And, we've criticized Berkan for not being the best number 6, rather a better number 8. And again, I still criticize that putting Bergkamp as a number 6, in hindsight, it worked out fine, but I think it's still a very critical, risky decision to play Bergkamp as a 6. But it worked out great because Bergkamp is a guy who's, a workhorse. He'll cover that field, and on a pitch like the one that we saw in Sivas, it's going to get your players tired. And Sergio is coming back from an injury, so it's even more riskier. And I think Bergkamp did an incredible job covering his role, as well as helping Sergio. And as I just said, he provided the second assist to that goal. He brought the ball up, played it to Sacha, and the rest is history. So applause to him, and I hope people realize that the expectation, as John just said, from Bergkamp is not to be this Selçuk İnan or Felipe Melo or anything like that. He's a great role player. He'll come in. I think his passing is completely underrated. He did his job today, and that's the best that you can ask for when your main number 6 is missing. He did a great job, and I hope he was rewarded for that from Okan Buruk and the rest of the team.
Yeah, definitely.
We can get into some second half points.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I think this might be the biggest point of conversation in this match. So in the 50th minute, Sivas, we thought Sivas had tied the match 1-1. It looked like it was a sure goal, and it went to VAR, and the goal was disallowed. And I think as of now, we still don't have any official statement or anything, fully explaining what had happened, what the call was, why it was disallowed. And that it's received a lot of backlash and a lot of I guess controversy online and things like that. So before I even get into the other points, what did you guys think about this? Like, do any of you have an idea why it was called off, or what exactly happened?
From what I saw, from pictures and people talking about it, what happened was Sasha Bowie, when he was in the goal, right? He was behind Muslera, and there was no other Galatasaray players between Muslera and the two Sivas players. When I forgot who made the shot, but when he shot, those two Sivas players was offside. Since Sasha Bowie does not count because he's behind the keeper. And so, since when he shot, those two guys were actively going towards the ball, it was ruled offside. Even the ref himself said we called it off for offsides after the match when he was asked about it. And so I think that's what happened. But there was a lot of people saying, oh, it's because Nelson got fouled, or it's this, or it's that. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, that's why it was ruled offside. And I think people don't understand or know this rule that well. And then they come up with these controversies saying that, oh, it's, rigged or whatever. It's the bad call or something like that. But even in the World Cup, I forgot who it was. The same thing happened. Instead of two players, there was one player that was offside, and they ruled the goal off. I can't remember who. But if someone can remember and let us know after this episode's out, it would be great. But this is a common rule. Like it's like, I don't know. Like, are these refs doing something unknowingly that we don't know? No. But what the issue is that they're not coming out and explaining it and letting this whole controversy blow up and like spiral out of control.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my
right.
biggest issue with it currently.
Yeah. I mean, don't you think that this whole thing could have just been shot down right away if there was, an official statement on what the call was, what the rule is, like something official?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Because it's like, I don't know. It's not as simple as he got a red card for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very technical decision. And so I can't really say it's right or wrong,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know the rules as well.
And Yasin, just before you give your thoughts, I know you probably have a lot to say about it, but I think that it's a really big mistake to not have something official come out, because now look at what's happened. We've had Ali Koç give this, press conference, whatever you want to call it. We have Erden Timur gave a bunch of statements as well. And then when that happens, then the fans start going out on Twitter and all kinds of craziness happens. So like, I don't understand why they don't just, erase and eliminate all of that. And after the match, just give a statement, let the referees, let the TFF communicate with the referees and give some official statement as to what the rule is and what the call was. Yeah. And then it won't escalate so far, right? And cause all this other bullshit to happen.
It's like these Turkish people love drama. It's like they see like, you know what? I'm going to let this stay.
Yeah.
They're so used to their Turkish soap opera or drama series. They want to see it in real life. I don't know. Yasin, what do you think about it?
So I thought it was a bogus call. I'm going to be straight up honest. I didn't understand it. I understand the rule that people were trying to justify it for. So you briefly mentioned, Sacha Boey was behind Muslera. So just to clarify that for those who don't understand it, if a player's behind the goalie, that doesn't mean that they are necessarily just don't count anymore. You don't just wipe them from whatever the scenario is. The reason why people look at the goalie as the last man in any offside situation is because generally the goalie is the last person. That's what makes sense. He's basically in front of the goal and no defender is usually behind him. But there are situations where a defender is covering the goalie if the goalie comes up, and that's when that defender, whoever is the last person, the most farthest back, becomes the last person. And in that situation, then you apply the goalie or whoever is the second to last person as the one who breaks the offsides line, right? That's what it is. The second to last person, usually a defender, but in this case, Muslera is the one that's breaking the offsides line. But from every angle I've looked at hundreds of replays, hundreds of screenshots. I've probably seen like 5 different lines drawn for what people think was an offsides position. There's not one single image where I was convinced that any of the Sivas players were offsides, because Sacha Boey was clearly on the line, the furthest one back, and the Sivas players looked like they were still in front of Muslera. And that's why it didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, for every offsides decision that we've seen so far, whether it's for us, against us, for or against our opponents, if VAR is called and they want to change it, you see a line drawn. Yes or no? That's what every single time you see a line drawn to clarify to the viewer that this is where the offsides was, so nobody is confused every single time. And that is the most, communication that we get as fans. And, we take it and we move on. And a lot of the time you see it's super close. And even when the line is drawn, sometimes we say, what the hell is this? That's too close. There's an argument. Sometimes people say if it's a couple centimeters, you should still give it as a goal. You shouldn't, count something offsides because of 1 centimeter. There's conversations like that. Now there's no line drawn. So nobody understands it. And I was not convinced. I wanted to be proven that was offsides, but I didn't see it. And in this case, it's like whether Sivas deserved 3 points or 1 point or not, people of Sivas, the Sivas fans, in my opinion, were done wrongly. The Sivasspor club was done wrong, and that doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Whether I can't say that we still wouldn't have won, because that happened in like the 50th minute. Let's say Sivas scored that goal and it was 1-1. You can't make an argument to me saying that we were going to lose points that game. We could have easily changed how we played accordingly and still won the game. It wasn't a red card. It wasn't, an injury or anything like that. It was a goal being counted or not counted. It's decisive, but it wasn't in the 99th minute either. So there's a lot of controversy behind it, but I wish they didn't call it. That's my last comment on it. I wish they gave the goal because of everything that came afterwards, and because of recency bias, and because of all the bullshit that we heard and we're going to hear for the rest of the season until the season's finished.
Right.
They're going to come back to this position and say, oh, if the refs were on Galatasaray's side, maybe Gala wouldn't have been champions because that's such a difficult away game, blah, blah, blah. I hate hearing that. I'd rather they gave this goal and we hear none of it.
Their point is irrelevant. Yes, irrelevant, because if they really wanted us to win and not lose, they would have given Nelson's penalty, where the guy literally wrestled him to the ground in the penalty area during a corner. So I don't care what anyone says. They can say all they want. They can't boast about honor to me, especially those teams that are on FIFA or whatever CASA's, list of teams that have done fraud. Don't come at us. Do not. And if it wasn't this game, I can point 5 games this season that we were screwed out of points. Okay, Alanya being the worst offender of anything. All right, let's say Sivas did tie here. Well, we should have won the Alanya game. Easy. That would cover our lost points. So I don't want to hear none of that. People need to look at the bigger picture. It's like, bro, if they wanted to make us champions, they would have already done so. But no, we lost. We should have been ahead more.
Yeah.
There's points that we messed up on, that Okan Buruk messed up, but there's definitely things that he couldn't have fixed. That was because of the refs' decisions. And people are saying, whenever it happens, the refs are just bad. You got to take it with the territory. Well, okay, what happened then, bro? What happened? Why is everyone crying over one call that we actually had in our favor just once this season? Come on, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna, after we finish talking about this match performance and everything, there's a couple more points we're gonna make in regards to this, like the aftermath of this and everything. But before we sort of move on to the next moment in the match, I do want to just say, like what you were saying, Emre. I don't know how many games did we play again before VAR was even considered in our favor.
Oh, at least 10.
Yeah, so
at least 10.
I mean, that right there, just like everything else is invalid after that.
Right.
If we got blessed with one good call, then that really means nothing compared to the other like 20 calls that didn't go our way. And let's be honest with ourselves. Let's really be honest. And the fans of the other teams as well. Let's really look at this and be honest with ourselves. If we got the proper calls and if VAR was actually used, this league might be close to being over already. Like straight up, we're 1 point ahead in first now. How many more points could we have won at the beginning of the season if VAR was used? Right? It was used for every other team in the league. But it took, like you said, 9, 10, who knows how many games before it was even used, right? So
yeah,
that right there to me makes everything else invalid. Like it
used in our favor,
right.
Not the other team's favor, which had happened within those 10 games, whatever, how many games happened. Bro, we're the team that got the most yellow and most red cards, I think, or second most red cards. Like, stop the cap, guys, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stop the cap.
Well,
anyway, John, what do you think about the second half? I think we should just slightly rotate to that.
Yes.
Just focus more on the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that what we just discussed, that was in the 50th minute, like I mentioned earlier, and then in the 80th minute, Sivas got their redemption. They had tied the match 1-1. And honestly, we kind of got shredded on this goal that they scored. Like they played I think it was an over-the-top ball, just over the top of the back line. I'm not sure who scored for Sivas, sorry, but they controlled it and really nice, tidy finish into the corner, and it was 1-1. And it was one of those goals where they scored, and it was, our players were kind of just looking around like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Erdoğan Yeşilyurt that scored, assisted by Saba.
Yeah.
Saba was good for them, actually. Saba.
That's right.
Can we take a moment right there to call out Van Aanholt, because he's the one that ruined the offsides line?
Yeah, take us through it.
If you watch the replay again, you have Nelson and Abdülkerim as center backs drawing the line. You have to follow the center backs. As a fullback, you follow what they do because they're the ones that are the center of your defense. Mm-hmm. They pull up, and Van Aanholt is in no man's land. What are you doing, my guy? Like, he's not paying attention. He's like 2 meters behind them, and he's keeping Erdoğan Yeşilyurt, who's the one that scored and ended up getting a red card later, completely on sides. And then he like pauses, thinking that he's like offsides, and just like raises his hand, just completely stops playing, being involved, thinking that the dude's actually offsides. He breaks the line. And that was just so frustrating to me, because if we go back to that call that we were just talking about, that decisive call, the one that the VAR canceled, where they scored early in the half. If you guys remember, sorry, I'm kind of going back to another moment, but that VAR decision and that goal that canceled, that came from Sergio causing a foul on Sivas on the left side of the pitch, our left side, right? And that came from Sergio's anger because Van Aanholt was on the floor waiting for the ball to just be stopped. Because I don't even remember. Does this recall memories to you guys? I remember, John, you were kind of frustrated because Van Aanholt was on the floor because he got pushed a little bit, and he's on the pitch, so we're man down, and they ended up getting that foul and scoring, and then getting the whole VAR thing canceled. And the reason why I bring that up again is now this is the second time in the game within 15-20 minutes that Van Aanholt is being a critical piece to Sivas scoring or almost scoring. So that was really frustrating. Like, that goal looked nice. It was a decent pass behind our defenders, but in reality, 9 out of 10 times that's called offsides because our two center backs are doing their job and watching the offsides line. But Van Aanholt got caught in no man's land. And I just want to add that because we need to criticize Van Aanholt because he deserves it. And these left back rumors that are brewing up is because his performances have not been good. I just want to say that before we forget.
Now that you mentioned that, I think there is a discipline issue within the team slightly because I don't know, like Oliveira, why did you have to push the guy or just cause a free kick? Like, such unnecessary things that are being done that just causes us headaches in the long run. Like, bro, let the ball go out and then you deal with the ref. You know what I mean? I mean, the ball did go out. It was supposed to be a throw-in, but since he like pushed the guy or fouled him, whatever, we conceded that free kick that led to that controversial like call. Like, bro, what is going on? Just chill out. We need to like fix that within the team. But yeah, other than that goal that we conceded, what did you guys think about the reaction to the game from Okan Buruk? What did you guys think?
Just before we jump to that, Emre, just before we get to that, there's just one more thing to bring up, and of course, it was the winner, the match winner. For the second time this season, we saw this long ball from Abdulkerim find Barış, who scored. He brought the ball down beautifully, and he scored to put us ahead 2-1. And I'm really proud of Barış for that. I think he really deserves that. And it was a beautiful ball from Abdulkerim as well. What did you guys think about that goal? Very unexpected, by the way. 94th, 95th minute.
Yasin, you're the one that predicted it, right?
Deja vu, baby. I mean, when I saw that happen, I got like instant flashbacks to that Istanbulspor friendly, I think it was. Where
the friendly.
Same thing. Like, if I were to explain the goal to you and I give you no context on the game or who we're playing, you'll be like, okay, are you talking about the Istanbulspor game or are you talking about the Sivasspor game? Because it was the exact same thing. And Galatasaray actually today on their Twitter, they posted like the two goals being played at the same time in the same video. And it's like identical. You have Abdulkerim, back in his own half with the ball, plays a beautiful, like absolutely gorgeous ball behind the defenders, right to where Barış is running into, like to his feet. Like, as a winger, as a striker, any player who's making a run behind the defense, you can't ask for a better ball. Like, it's not like he's being asked to like control it with his chest. He's not being asked to like change his momentum of his run or anything. Like, he's making a run and it meets him right on his foot. A gorgeous ball by Abdulkerim, gorgeous control by Barış, and again a gorgeous finish. I mean, this one was not as nice of a finish as the one against Istanbulspor, but still, like, it's a dying minutes. You got subbed on, and you're being asked to make such a critical play after a critical ball. The composure, man, like he's not a kid, he's not super young, but still, I'm super impressed with that. And we talked about it on the last podcast. This is what he's good at. He's good at making those runs. He's not incredible at giving goals and his IQ. This is a strictly, I'm focused. I have the mental strength to make that run and understand that my teammate Abdulkerim is capable of making this pass, and he made the run. And the reason why I say that last sentence, where I say understanding his teammate and his capabilities, look at Seferovic in that exact same play. You have Barış making the run, and you have Seferovic standing flat-footed, just like with the defense, like expecting the ball, I guess, to maybe kick to him and him to control or head it with the defense on his ass. If he understood his teammates, he should be like, okay, this is something that Abdulkerim can do. And Barış was able to do that. And Man, I watched that goal at least 10
They're two
times,
different
and
players, though. Like, just to play devil's advocate.
It's true.
They're
It's
two
true.
different
It's
players.
true. Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. But I'm just so impressed with that goal. What'd you guys think of it?
I mean, if I can just take it real quick. Abdülkerim, man, he's been winning the hearts of everybody lately. I remember when he made his mistake against Giresunspor, everybody was flaming him. Everybody was like wanting Marcao. Why do we sell Marcao? We're going to miss him so bad. We can't be champions with this guy in the back line with Nelson. Nelson's going to crumble if he has a teammate like this. Oh, all sorts of things. You know, it was starting to get to my head too. And I was hoping that we would all be wrong. And then Abdülkerim, man, he could have just, perished. He could have just, not been himself after that whole... Because all it takes is one, man. One, and then everybody's on your neck, out for blood. And this man slowly and steadily came back, built up his confidence, and showed everyone why he is playing at Galatasaray, bro. And look at where he is now. This man is confident. And kudos to him, bro. I can't say anything. Like, he's made me not miss Marcao. Marcao, bro.
Yeah.
Marcao is a monster. And he's made me not, look at, not put out the bat signal or whatever, the Brazilian flag signal, and, call for him, bro. Respect where respect is due, man. And then Barış. Good for him. We need players like him. This is the signaling for a championship. You get the taste, the smell of a championship. That last minute goal, reminding me of the Mitrovic goal against Akhisar, bro. Dying minutes.
Yeah.
Hype,
Yeah.
man. Hype.
John, what do you think of that, man? The whole play, everything that Emre just said, which I think is perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
What are your thoughts?
The goal in particular, like I said, it's just a beautifully weighted ball, man. It just fell on an absolute platter for Barış, which, with that said, although it fell on a platter, it was perfectly weighted. It's not easy to control this ball. This is a really long pass. That's hard to control. And he brought it down again for the second time, had the composure in front of goal, in front of the defenders to finish it. So happy for both of them. I mean, I like Abdülkerim. I think he's pretty good. I mean, for me, I don't think he replaced Marcao, just in my opinion. I think he's playing really well. I'll give it to him. He deserves some credit for that, no doubt about it. But
I don't think he replaces him. Just to put that out there. I'm just saying he doesn't make me completely miss him.
Yeah, okay,
I
that's
still would
fair.
rather
That's
have a
fair.
Marcao, right?
I'm not sitting when I'm watching these games. I'm not sitting here still crying over Marcao. That's entirely true. But I mean, Marcao is different, man. Playing against these teams like Barca, Lazio, he's just different. I don't know. He's just different. But yes, you're right. With Abdülkerim, I'm not sitting around crying over Marcao anymore. I'll say that. But
yeah.
One other thing, if I could just sort of switch gears, that I've been so excited. I've been waiting 47 minutes now to bring this up. I'm so happy. I'm so excited about this.
All right, hit us with it.
Bro, we finally learned how to kill a match properly. I can't believe it. I don't know if you guys remember me saying this. I think I brought it up twice on two different occasions. And on one of the occasions, I can't remember which match it was, where Kerem sold. And I was complaining. I said we had a corner and we played the corner short. Kerem lost the ball and they scored. Was it against Trabzon? No.
I think it was Alanya.
Yeah, maybe. Bro, and I was saying, just get the ball and shield it in the corner. They're going to either foul you or kick it out for another corner. I was so pissed off. I was like, these players are so stupid. They have the lowest IQ. Why are you not doing that? I can't believe it. We were doing it in this match. I honestly couldn't believe it. Yusuf was doing it. I think he did it a couple times. I can't remember who else was doing it. But it seriously makes a difference, especially now that there's so much added time. You do that, players get frustrated, and then, like I said, they'll either foul you or put it out for another corner. That's frustrating. And then when they actually do get the ball, because you were wasting time, they want to play so fast and they make stupid passes and poor decisions. And these little things that's what makes you a smart player, an intelligent player. Just all the little things combined is what makes you really good. And I'm so happy we're finally doing that. It was pissing me off so badly, because if you look, if you guys go back, I don't know, maybe from the 95th minute onwards, we were doing that really good. Yusuf, really smart player. Whoever else was doing, I think it might have been, I want to say Kerem, but I can't remember if he was on the field. I'm not sure. But then you have Seferovic, who had the ball, and he made the dumbest pass. He tried to make a pass into the middle of the field, and they took it and started countering us. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is definitely the goal. Fortunately, it didn't turn out to be anything, but that's literally the difference. That's how you kill off a match. And in comparison to what Seferovic did, these stupid mistakes, stupid unnecessary passes that could give it away. So hopefully we keep that up, because that's, in my opinion, very good. And people might complain and say, oh, it's a scummy scumbag thing to do. But I totally disagree. In football, no one cares if you're a scumbag. We're here to win. We're here to win points, win trophies.
No one remembers what you did to win those points.
Nobody cares. No one cares if you're a scumbag. No one cares if you're a good guy. Nobody cares. We're here to win. So you do what you got to do to win, right? So yeah, I'm very happy to see that. But that's the match pretty much. Emre, I know there's a few post-game points that we want to go over. If you have anything specific you want to bring up.
I just wanted to go over the
subs.
The subs, yeah, because last week we were all talking about the subs being bad for Okan Buruk, too late, and not being the right ones. What do you guys think in contrast to this game?
Well, let me mention. I'll list the subs quick, and then maybe we can talk about it. So, the first sub came in the 72nd minute. It was Gomes who came out for Barish. It was a double change. So Gomes came out for Barish, and Sergio came out for Mitchell. And then we had a triple change in the 87th minute. Rashica came off for Yusuf, Kerem came off for Seferovic, and Van Aanholt came off for Dubois. So what did you think about that, Yasin? You had a lot of criticism. I did as well, but what did you think about it this week?
Yeah, so I had a lot of criticism, and then what I said last week was that Okan Buruk is a type that learns from his mistakes and often does a good job kind of gaining our confidence back, right? Not repeating the same mistakes. And I think that's exactly what he did. No more than a week later, we're seeing him kind of look back and say, okay, this is what I should have done. And his subs were excellent for the most part, I think. Gomes came off in the 73rd minute. Maybe he played a little bit too much, but still, 73rd minute, okay. And the guy that he put on, Barış Alper Yılmaz, who ended up scoring the winner. Sergio Oliveira, a guy that is coming back from an injury, who honestly doesn't probably have the best match fitness. And again, playing in the cold away, he's going to get tired. And I think the guy to put in was Misho. That's a fine move, I think. Bergkamp was probably feeling a lot of that load and defending, and he got a little teammate to help him out in that situation. Good sub. The triple sub at the end, I think, triple subs in general are kind of risky because that's a lot of players at the same time, and that can really change the flow of the game for the worse. It's a risky decision to make. But in this case, I think it was okay. Both Kerem and Rashica came off. I think they were both showing that they were tired, and we needed somebody to kind of, or a couple players to come and put a little bit more pressure. So putting Seferovic and Yusuf Demir was okay. I actually liked the Seferovic sub, guys. I'm curious what you thought about that, because we needed to start playing the ball up top, right? We were playing a little bit safer, kicking the ball up, because we couldn't play the ball at our feet too much. And putting Seferovic up top, a guy who's taller, can win some balls in the air, I thought was a good idea. I don't recall if we really utilized him in that way, but in theory, I thought it was okay just to kind of kick the ball up and have somebody control it and pass it to the guy that's next to him. And Van Aanholt came off in the 88th minute. I think maybe that took a little bit too long. That actually confused me. So he took off Van Aanholt at left back and put in Dubois at left back. Instantly, my thought was, why didn't we just start Dubois at left back instead? If you're okay with him playing left back, why not just start him there? Because Van Aanholt hasn't been playing exceptional. We already talked about that. Why didn't Dubois start there? That's the only thing that I didn't understand, but I thought he did well with the subs, and it worked out for 3 points.
The only thing, okay, so I'll touch on the whole Van Aanholt thing. In this game, you don't really need Dubois, so to say, his skill set, because you can't really utilize his skill set, right? We can't utilize the football we play. What Van Aanholt has over Dubois is Van Aanholt is just a strength merchant. That's all he uses, his strength and his physicality to play. And that's what we needed. I mean, yeah, he had some brain farts, which, ended up with us scoring, the other team scoring against us. But all in all, I can't say it was a bad choice to start with him. Could he have started with Dubois? Maybe. I don't know. It's his decision at the end of the day. But I do say I think he will start with Dubois next game. I think Dubois is more play at home type of guy where we're always attacking. We're not relying on our physicality as much. But I think, listen, if you win the game and one of the guys that you subbed didn't score for you, I think you did a good job. I think he did a good job. I think, it's way better in contrast where last game he subbed in, we started playing worse, right? This game, not so much. But yeah, if John wants to take it away, I don't have much to say. I think it was just good changes by him in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with the subs. You guys pretty much said it all. The only issue I do have is probably what Yasin said about the triple sub at the end of the match, which is I prefer subbing players in a little bit earlier and a little bit more spread out. Yeah, triple change all at once, right? Before the 90th minute. I don't know about that. I mean, I know it was 1-1 and we really needed a goal. I don't know. There's a bunch of ways you can look at that, but I mean, for the most part, it is what it is. We won the match. So when you win the match, it's hard to complain about things, right? It worked out.
Right.
But
I had one question in my mind that's been lingering for a few weeks now. We know Seferovic is not right for this team. We just know he's going to be a gunner. He's not staying with us, yada, yada, yada. But do you guys think, I don't know what Yusuf Demir's identity is right now. I see him play. I just don't know what he's supposed to be. Is he supposed to be a winger, a midfielder? It's like, I feel like he has traits that can benefit both, but it's like he has one thing, but it's missing another for both roles. Like for midfield, he's not as, strong. He's not as physical. And for a winger, he's not as fast. Like, what do you guys think of him? I feel like he has no identity yet. And I don't know how he's going to fit in this team in the long run. That's been on my mind for quite a while now.
For me, what's tricky about that is, let's put it this way. Okay, our two wingers are Kerem and Rashica. As of right now, would I start Yusuf over either of them? I would say no. Right?
Right.
And then look at our midfield, like our proper midfield trio. Mertens, Sergio, Torreira. Am I starting Yusuf over any of them? No. So I don't know what the future plans with Yusuf Demir. I don't know what the plans are. I mean, for now, he's coming in the last 10 or 15 minutes of the match. And I mean, I guess depending on the situation, that's fine. But I agree with you. It's a little bit tricky. Like, where does he, what's his role? Where does he fit in the squad? Because I do think he's a really talented player, but just with the players that we have, it's kind of hard to work out, I think.
Yeah, that's been on my mind. I don't know, Yasin. I know you're a stan of his, just like Berkan and Sengun.
No,
so what do you think?
I think you bring up a great point. I'm wondering the same thing myself, and the response from myself is we're gonna need time because he's a very interesting player that holds a lot of skill and possibility, but I think you need to kind of work around him. You need to build your approach to the game with him in mind as a priority first, especially in our attack. And I don't know where he slots in really, because the role that Mertens plays, you can't really expect that from Yusuf.
Right.
The role that our wingers currently play, as John just said, Yusuf is not that type of winger. So I think it's just going to take time for him to understand his teammates and his teammates to understand him. So when he does get on the pitch, it's not just like, okay, we have to change our style completely. Everybody's lost. It's going to take time for everybody to understand how he plays and how that switch is going to be, where it's going to be smoother for us as viewers and it's going to be smoother for them on the pitch itself. So yeah. I think we just need a bit of time. And at the end of the day, the kid's 19 years old. Like, he's young. It's a new league for him. I say give it time. And I'm not worried just because of the skill that he has. I think he can do a lot. He can cause a lot of damage. It's just finding that fit right now, and that's tough to do when he's not a starting player. And that's tough to do in this situation where, we're going for the league, we're going for the title, and we have all these players before him. So
And we paid a good amount of money for him too. Let's not forget that.
We did. Fortunately, I mean, it's 4 years. I wish it was 5, but I think after a proper off season, after this season finishes, then maybe we can start to see him, involved a little bit better. But I say give it time, to be honest.
Hey, that's what you think, huh? All right, let's give it time. I would honestly think he would fit in a 4-4-2 system. I don't know. I think it was one of those friendly games. He was much more attacking minded, and he scored 2 goals. So I think that was, what game was that? Was that the one that we actually won? Can't remember. But I think he'd do well in a 4-4-2 system. Anyway, well, if you guys don't have anything to say about the game, I think we're done. We've pretty much wrapped it up. But John, you wanted to speak more about the events after the game.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing for me, like maybe I'll mention this and then maybe it'll lead into our predictions for the next match. But so our next match is we're at home against Ankaragucu, and we have 2 pretty key players that are suspended for that match, Sasha Boy and Sergio Oliveira. So they've picked up 1 too many yellow cards and they're suspended for that match. And then what's a little more worrying than that is we have Mertens, Kerem, and Abdul Kerem, who are 1 yellow card away from missing the Fener derby. And that's pretty worrying. Those are 3 players we really need for that match. So it's going to be interesting to see what Okan does. I mean, we're at home against a team that's 1 point out of relegation. And, are we going to start, Emin Bayram instead of Abdul Kerem? What about Kerem? Is this the time for Yusuf Demir to start instead of Kerem if we can work him in possibly? So what do you guys think about that? This could be very tricky, and this honestly could really affect the derby result.
Yeah, I mean, I think is Okan going to take that risk? You got to ask yourself, if you were in Okan's place, would you take that risk in this type of league, knowing that yellow cards are shown way more easily to us than any other team for non-offensive positions, let's just say, for the most mundane ones? Would you take that? I personally wouldn't take that chance against Ankaragucu, okay? I know Mertens is a great player and he would just absolutely dominate in that game, but I would rather save him for the Fenerbahce game because I can't trust Mata to play there. And then if you don't have Mata, who are you going to play? Sergio? I don't know. Maybe you can do that and just go with the Micho Torreira duo, but that's tough. And then I think Kerem's the only one that you can actually risk, because if you don't have Kerem, you can always put in Barış Alper for the next game. And I think Barış Alper will do fine. He did fine against Beşiktaş, for example, right? So, and Fenerbahce is a very physical-oriented team, and then you need someone really physical. Maybe Kerem might not actually be the right person to play. And the third one you mentioned, Abdul Kerem, 100% bench. No question. Do not put that man against Ankaragucu because you absolutely are going to need him against Fenerbahce. That's just 100%. Emin Bayram will do, man. Anyone will do. I don't care if you put a cone there. It will do. We just need Abdul Kerem for that Fenerbahce game. Yasin, what do you think?
Yeah, there's no reason to risk any of those players. Fortunately, we have a deep squad. Not deep enough to say that I'm worry-free if any of them get suspended for the Fenerbahce game. You're playing against your biggest rival away. You're playing against the team that's going to be in it to the end with you, who are the favorites. You need to go into that game with your absolute starting 11. And Mertens, Kerem, and Abdul Kerem are pretty much all your starting 11 players. I don't think there's a question about that right now. I would put Sergio at number 10, have him replace Mertens. Throw in Berkan and Torreira in there, or Micho. For Kerem, you can play Barış Alper if you want. Play Yunus, maybe he's back. Have both of them alternate. Start Barış, throw Yunus in later. Start Yunus, throw Barış in later. And for Abdul Kerem, we're blessed with two very good young center backs that happen to both be Turkish. pick one. Whoever's been the best in training the last 2 weeks, play him. Whoever has the best mental strength, play him. And fortunately for us and all these players, they're playing at home in Istanbul, in front of 50,000 fans. So they have that mental support. So I don't see a problem with it. Oh, wait. Oliveira's suspended, right?
Oliveira's suspended. Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, he's suspended.
Yep.
Duh.
Okay. That does make it a little bit more complicated. Maybe Yusuf, speaking of the guy, the kid, maybe
This
play
might be
him.
his
I'm
chance,
not sure.
man. This might be his only chance to actually prove himself that, oh, listen, I can play in the midfield. This might be his only chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at home with a good supporting cast, he can live up to that. Bowie not being there, I think it's okay. We have Dubois, so that shouldn't really be a worry.
Yeah.
But I am curious. Let's see what Okan does, because I feel like we have this tendency to go into these Fenerbahce derbies over the last few years away with our right back, like one of our fullbacks always missing. Like, I feel like Mariano has missed so many derbies away. I feel like we've missed other guys in the past. I hope we don't miss somebody else important for that one. So let's see what happens. I wouldn't want to miss Abdulkarim, for example.
I wonder if Icardi will be back for this game, because everyone's worried about Icardi or asking about Icardi. When is he coming back? Because he's been our best finisher, I would say. Do you guys think he'll be back this game? I haven't heard much news about him being match ready.
I
really do hope he makes.
I read an update today, actually. So,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
there's a chance that he could be playing against Ankaragucu, but 100% he'll be playing in the derby. That's what I read today. I read two.
Okay.
I'm not really sure who reported, but I read two different reports about that today. So we could see him. We could see him start in this next match, but definitely he'll be playing the derby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen anything of him. Like nothing with him training with the team. Nothing. All I know is like, oh, he's he's practicing individual practices, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So there's also before that, since we're talking about Ankaragucu going to Fenerbahce game, that game's going to be quite heated with the whole issues regarding, Ali Koç coming out and with the press conference, and Erden Tümur also following suit with his own press conference before their press conference. So, did you guys listen to that? Do you guys have any opinions on that?
I didn't listen to the whole thing. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was like 30 minutes or so, but there were some good points that he made, and
That Ali Koç made? Shame, Yasin, shame.
Erden Tümur. I thought you were asking about Erden Tümur. I'm sorry.
I'm joking.
I think Ali Koç was just crying. He even said some random things about the ref. Apparently, the ref didn't do askerlik, military service, because he was listed as like.
The man has cancer. Apparently, that's what I heard. The man's struggling with cancer.
Yeah, I don't know. So Ali Koç was like questioning how he's able to miss military service, but he's allowed to be a ref. I'm not sure how the two really correlate, but yeah, Ali Koç made some random comments like that. He called out TFF and the refereeing decisions in general, like classic Ali Koç crying. And I'm not sure if that benefits Fenerbahce or actually, in my opinion, it makes things worse. Once again, we see Ali Koç getting involved when he doesn't need to. Because in my honest opinion, being objective, Fenerbahce are doing fine for themselves. They have Jorge Jesus, who is obviously overrated, but he has his team kind of in control. The players are doing their part, and they're in the race. Are they going to win it? We'll see what happens, but they're in the race. And once again, Ali Koç is getting involved with outside factors, and oftentimes that doesn't help. That makes it worse for them. So I'm not sure what he's thinking there. But yeah, man, this derby is going to be crazy. If we win this next game and against them, that could be a 4-point lead. That's just beautiful, man. Going into the February.
What we're experiencing right now is truly the best part of football, man. Like, as it stands right now, there's 1 point separating us, and we're heading into this derby in I think 7 days now or 8 days. Oh man, like it's just gonna be so fiery, man. I wish I could be there. I've never been to an away match, but they always say the away days are the ones you want to be at, man. And
the upsets, right?
yeah, it's gonna be fiery, man. I can't wait. We'll see what happens. But before we get there, let's maybe give our predictions for the Ankaragucu match. I know Emre. Maybe it's just me and Yasin. Emre has his little, I don't know what to call that, ritual,
Little superstition.
Yeah, yeah. You want to go ahead, Yasin? Give us our your predictions. Sorry.
Yeah, so not to self-gloat, but I did predict this game. Well, I said 2-1 last week for the Sivas game and ended up being 2-1. So hopefully I continue this. And I'm going to say a 3-1 win next game.
Lovely. I'm going to say a 2-0 victory, 2-0. And I think that I think we're going to get some momentum going into this derby. You know, we're at home. Anything less than a win is, pretty much unacceptable. Like I said, we're playing against a team that's 1 point out of relegation, and the form that we're in, I'm fully expecting a win. And, we're making winning a habit. And that's a really, really dangerous thing when a team does that. When they make winning a habit, they'll find a way to win no matter what. Like we just saw 95th, 4th, 6th minute, whatever it is, they always find a way. And I feel like we're slowly getting there.
Yeah. We're improving every passing week, which is the important thing. And it's the best we can, ask for.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, a big thanks to everyone that stayed and listened till now. Hopefully, you guys have a great new year where you're constantly improving too. This has been episode 38 of The Lion's Den. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at The Lion's Den GS. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share our links with friends and family. It'll mean a lot to us. With that said, stay safe and peace out.
Peace.
See you.